Hey guys, Codeberry's here today, so just having a look at Bitcoin. Just doing a recap on it today. So we have had a red month start. We haven't had a red month start in a long time, since September 2020. So it's been a while. It's been about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's been 6 months since we had a red month. I think it's pretty much the longest time ever for Bitcoin. So I just want to talk about a few things today. You can just have a look. So the low of this candle was 55,441, I think that says. So that was today. We had some movement to the downside. You can see there's an inflection to negative infinity there. No inflection there yet, but when it does, it's gonna crash pretty hard if it does. So just a warning, we did have a inflection here to the downside as well. We've had those pushing up to the top bounds for a while. We had a crossover from that red. The red line has crossed over that blue line and also crossed over that yellow RSI. So I'll just show you how the MACDs look for the weekly. So we talked about that divergence again. I'll just draw it out. It's been a while, so we had that divergence there, and then we had the divergence there that we talked about. And what do you know, we started getting that downwards momentum again. We can see that starting to cross over. It was crossed over a little bit more earlier. There is one thing I want to talk about too, is the diverging volume. I didn't cover it before. We can see, have a look, that the volume has been decreasing as it's been getting higher. So the buys have, less and less buys have been coming in since then. But you can see when the buys were high, right? The real buys were high. Like, people know when to buy. They're not going to buy when the time's running out, when the bull run's going to stop, right? They're going to, like institutions and stuff, they're going to be buying here. You know, they're going to be buying way early, you know? Like back here, maybe around there, maybe some pumping around in that area. And then obviously we had some pumping around that area. That's when kind of the news came out. When the Bitcoin news started to come out, that's when the pumping started happening. Even there, that's a little early. Honestly, the pumping news started in there. But you can see the institutional buying decline because they have the most money. But you can see there is one thing I really want to note, is have a look at the volume on the daily. We haven't had this much. It was actually more a little bit earlier. It was about there, but you can see that we haven't had this much volume since the 25th of March. So it's been about 2 weeks. We haven't had this much sell volume since it was at the lows. So once we get around there, you know, that could be saying, you know, we want to break this level here and we want to head down. So we want to break that level there and we want to head down to this area over here. Want to test this level here. So that could be our next stop. We'll talk about that in a sec. But basically around there, 40, 38 to around 42, we want to test that area. That's where the next support is. That's what I was talking about in the other videos. So that's where support is. We'll just talk about the price action today. So the price action today, we had some sharp sell-offs. One was around 7 to 8 o'clock Eastern time, 4 to 5 a.m. my time, Pacific time. Then we had another sell-off around 3 in the afternoon New York time and 12 p.m. my time. So you can just see we came down and tested that. It ended up making a lower low. So I'll just show you here. So we made that low, and then we ended up breaking that to the downside, about 20 pips or so. we ended up breaking it to the downside. So how the momentum is looking right now, we can see that yellow line maybe come up here, or maybe not, maybe bounce around there, and we could see that momentum is starting again, that bearish momentum. It wants to continue down. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. Same thing with that. We might see that forming that same kind of trend line down. It's kind of dumping on low volume, right? As we said, there's not enough buy volume. Institutions are just starting to sell off. We might see a little bit of momentum, or we could see a breakout, a fake out. So in the last video, I apologize for I haven't been making that many videos because I'm still have some final exams to take, but I just wanted to, I'll just remove those lines. So I talked about that fake out, maybe it was about here. Last week I think we were talking about it. I made another video on Eden. Check out that video if you haven't seen it. Eden Empire Cannabis stock, it's a new stock trading on the Canadian Stock Exchange. It's currently at 10 cents and has an outlook of $1 plus for the end of the year. So just check that out. But other than that, I talked about that fake out, and because what I was saying is that I've seen these fake outs happen many times, and it basically did fake out. A lot of people were expecting that wave, this up wave to occur, right? Like something like this, a big swing high, right? Lots of momentum, big swing high, and then swing down, and then they were expecting another big swing high. But have a look, it swung up and just got rejected, right? I was talking about a fake out, and perhaps a lot of people got stopped out there, or they're now in a loss because of that fake out. So I wouldn't always trust a one-day MACD as a for sure signal. But you can see that momentum, like we had that momentum here back in May, right? That's when it started to take off. We had those big swings. So we did have those big swings, swing up, swing down. Just zoom in a bit. So swing up, swing down. We had the swing down, swing up, swing down. Then we had some big swing ups, and then we were saying that the momentum has faded out, because you can see, look, big peak, small peak, and a fake out. So that's what we're saying, that the divergence and the momentum, it was slowing down, it was losing steam, right? That's what we were talking about last time. So you can just see there's crystal clear divergence here. You can see the price. I guess that was the last high right there. So you can see the divergency. You can see that shows the momentum slowing down. There's some here as well. Same thing there basically. But you can really see that on the weekly, and we said it before, that this was the strongest divergence that this chart has ever seen in its entire life. In its chart life, right? There's nothing here that shows divergence as strong as that. And in this sell-off last time, in 2018, or right at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, there wasn't even any divergence really, except for the divergence on the monthly. That wasn't even on the weekly chart, it had nothing, right? But we did have that peak to peak there. And then now we had that peak to peak there. It is peak to peak pretty much, like overbought peak to overbought peak. That's what we're talking about. And now this could just be either a crash, a flash crash, but it could just be a slow decline and a slow sell-off. So like I said, our main support's down there. Probably see that breaking, might even see that break. Around there, that's the low right there to about there. That's where I think it's going to get bought up again for another run. But again, that could take a while, right? If this drop is starting and people are still wondering, well, is it going to drop? Because they don't know how to use the bigger charts, bigger time frames. Like they haven't been trading. They're not experienced, right? So you can see that red month has come down more than where it is. But once that comes down, you see 36 is a for sure stop. 23 is pretty highly likely eventually when these start to sell off, when these start to inflect down, more red bars or pink bars, pink bars, once these pink bars start, once we get that inflection point here, right, eventually it has to sell off. That's what we were talking about before. So once we get that inflection, and then we eventually get the cross down, right, on that yellow line, zero line, we start getting red bars here. That's when we'll start to see some heavy selling. That's when people are like, oh yeah, we're in a bear market now, right? That's when even some analysts are like that. Not all of them, but a lot of those older analysts, like they don't really start a bear market till they're, you know, down there. So they're late to the party, right? You want to be early to the party. You want to be saying, oh, it's going to go short when everyone's going long, and then when everyone's going long, you want to go short. That's how it works. That's how you end up profiting. When everybody hops on the boat, you hop off. That's how it works. That's how it works if you want to be successful here. So that's what I've been trying to explain. And so just I think there is a lot of months for this to come down. We could see this come down all year. All the rest of the year we could see this just all the way down. Just huge crash, right? Just for a long time. Maybe get bought up down here, maybe even continue to drop if there's more regulations, who really knows. But buying here, you probably make some money. We'll talk about it later. But it could be a long fall, right? It could take a while. And I'll just note Ethereum too. Last time, I don't like this. I like the Kraken one because it showed the flash crash. They were trying to hide the flash crash on the other ticker symbols. But either way, last time Ethereum didn't start its red month until 1 month after Bitcoin, so we might get another green month here before it starts. Not for sure, but there's still a lot of room to the downside. We probably could see this come back to about $100 or less. So a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Ethereum's going to, like, I have one buddy, he's been trading for a long time and he hasn't even learned anything. And he's like, oh yeah, well, Ethereum could be going to like 5 digits or whatever, 5 figures. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's going to 5 figures. Like, look how, even to get up there, we wouldn't even get up there. Look, that's still less than 3K, even if we get above that blue band. And have a look at that RSI. It's already almost up there, right? Like, how high can you really take this? I don't think we'll see 10K this time. We definitely maybe could see that in another, how many years is that? 3 years? 3 years, so maybe we could get a break in maybe in another six years, maybe we could see it up at 10K. It just depends how hard it's going to get sold off this time. More regulations, right? Who really knows? But I'm thinking that those companies like MicroStrategy and stuff, they're going to be out. All those companies are going to be out. They're going to be wiped out. Like, eventually, like, when this thing, if it dumps, right? If it really dumps, a lot of companies are going to get wiped out. A lot of institutions, a lot of banks too that were buying Bitcoin at the top. Like, there was just this one story in the news, something to do with I don't even know how to spell it, but it's like Archegos. There was some guy on Wall Street. He basically, like, he got margin called on, like, I think it was like $100 billion trade, and I think, like, Credit Suisse is out like a couple $100 billion, and a lot of firms are out like over $100 billion. So there's like a huge wipeout on Wall Street. I forgot the exact name. I don't even know what it's called, but I can try looking for it. Let's see. I don't even know how to spell it, but Archegos, Credit Suisse, Credit Suisse, margin call. Let's just see what comes up. Oh, here it is, Archegos. So there's a U.S. Hedge fund. So some banks took a significant loss. I can just play it and see if you can hear that.
Total market coverage in your hands. Now, CNBC app. Up to the minute.
So Credit Suisse and Nomura warned Monday of significant hits to first quarter results that they begin exiting positions with a large U.S. hedge fund that defaulted on margin calls last week.
Short squeeze we saw not too long ago.
I don't think you can say which it will be because, or which is more significant, because I think each one is just a little more of a chip at market structure. It's so each one is telling you something is off, and I think that so this is the latest one, and even the smartest people I talk to on this, and we're talking to my friends who know the markets, who know it much better than I do because they participate. They're sitting here scratching their heads, but they're all saying, yeah, we see it coming, because remember, whatever is going to happen when the market goes, if the market goes, it's always going to be something else.
So Goldman, Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs took $13 billion hits on these stocks here. I don't even know what that is. Viacom's, Baidu, I know that. That's like some Chinese company. Discovery Incorporated, and then Baidu and Tencent. Those are like Chinese companies. So I guess they were. I think the person that got stopped out was like this like Oriental guy working in New York. He looked kind of like sad, obviously, like he probably lost his job, but I think he forced all these banks to lose a bunch of money on like one trade or something.
Been saying that for the longest period of time, and you have people gaming the system, gaming each other, and each one is thinking they won't be left holding the bag. So there's always somebody who's coming up with something new and some other way to sort of push their own.
Yeah, so I guess that could be another video, kind of running out of time here, so I just wanted to say that like more stuff like this, these kind of news stories could be coming up pretty soon when these red months really start to go down. I see a lot of people getting stopped out, a lot of banks might be getting stopped out, like hedge funds, corporations, stuff like that, micro-strategy companies and stuff, putting everything into Bitcoin at the top. You don't want to do that, right? So that's what we were talking about. We could see these red months. If we could have a flash crash too, which will probably get bought up a little bit, and then we could see some decline for a long time. We're talking about like another 6 months to a year of decline, and then a lot of sideways action after that, until it gets starts to like get bought up like that, or decline like that. Then like this sideways action, and then maybe like somewhere some kind of buy later on. So it could take a while, that's what I'm saying. So just be careful, don't buy here, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.